Welcome to Pacific Coast Broadband Connect. This is Bill Simmons, and with me today is Brian Chong. Brian's the assistant to the city manager, public information officer for the City of Moorpark. And Brian, first off, I'm going to say thank you for being such a solid participant and supporter of the Broadband Consortium. We really appreciate Moorpark being there.
Well, thank you, Bill. Thanks for having me. The consortium has been a great resource for Moorpark as well. And, to the extent that any of us can help, rise the tide, we all should be doing it. So thanks for all you do as well.
So one of the things that you've been reporting on every month when we get together is the whole broadband study. Can you tell us more about what you've gone through as a city in the last couple of months?
Sure. So, just a little about Moorpark. We're a smallish city, 37,000 people, about 50 full-time employees, only one of which is an IT professional, and none of which at the time we started was a broadband professional. So when our city council identified, broadband as essentially the fourth utility that we need to provide, we were a little bit caught flat-footed as a staff saying, well, okay, we don't have this expertise on hand, so let's find somebody who does. And so we went out with a request for proposals, based largely on feedback and items learned from our participation in the Broadband Consortium, to find someone who could help us. And when we, released that, we had our choice of, big and small consulting firms, all the way up to the size of Ernst & Young, which, had tremendous access to national level data and everything else that's part of their network of companies and data. We ended up going with a much smaller boutique firm who specializes and only does public sector consulting for broadband deployment, and that was Magellan Advisors. We had the benefit of knowing them a bit because they had done similar plans for two nearby jurisdictions in Oxnard and Ventura, and have since been picked up by Ventura County as well. So we went through that RFP process, and our city council just adopted the plan now 2 months ago. Now that is December.
Congratulations. In the consortium, we talk an awful lot about smart cities, and just how does that plan line you up for that direction towards a smart city?
Sure. So, we've got a number of goals with broadband deployment, smart city being one of them, economic development being another, and just digital and social equity across our community. But the smart city parts are really what we're looking to do for our own operations, right? Everybody wants to be smarter. Everybody wants to work efficiently and make decisions that are always on the most informed data. So, kind of the parallel I like to draw is, it's great to have electricity in your home or business, but unless you have something to plug into it, it doesn't do you any good. And so what we did here, we actually had a 2-day session here on site with the team from Magellan Advisors with all of our operating departments. And the idea was, okay, money, no object, every resource in the world, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? And we spent hours and hours and hours going over, well, we would love to have a traffic camera here, or we would love to have a camera system in our skate park, or, the biggest actual crime in Moorpark is shoplifting from one specific shopping center. Wow. So wouldn't it be great to have a license plate reader, there? Well, you still got to get that data back to our police department. So we went through this process, and what we concluded was, we have been living in a cave, the past, 30 years. We already have purchased smart irrigation controllers. We have some smart trash cans in our parks. We were looking at the technology, and we actually concluded that we had already acquired the low-hanging fruit. There were some kind of mid-level fruits that we can look at, the Wi-Fi in the parks, the license plate readers, the wayfinding applications like, hey, I'm in downtown Moorpark, where can I find a parking space, that are on the horizon, but the demand and the policy direction is not quite there yet. So the big message for Smart City for us was to be prepared. And so what we're doing is we're working to lay out the network across the city that will enable us to immediately just plug and play when the new technology arrives and when something fits to our business needs. So part of our efforts has been, we purchased all of our street lights from our electric utility, SoCal Edison, and we're replacing all of the bulbs from the old sodium fixtures to LED fixtures, which saves money. Well, while we're up there, we're also putting in an industry standard plug that all of these smart devices will plug into. So it's literally just plug, mount, and done. It saves us a lot of effort in the future when we do deploy additional smart city infrastructure.
Brian, in the months to come, we've got so much to talk about. I mean, just what you were saying there, we're just getting ready for the technology innovation that's going to follow. All of the projects that we can talk about. It's going to be an exciting conversation. Do you see any quick wins?
Yeah, absolutely. Even though the ultimate end goal of this, every smart city technology to come, is still a little bit on the horizon. There's a number of things that we got from this that are immediate wins we've already done. The big one is mapping out the city network. So when it comes to deploying, fiber optic infrastructure, we don't need a consultant to tell us that it is not cost effective for us to dig up every street across the entire city and lay fiber optic conduit. It just simply won't pencil. So based on the sessions we had with the Magellan team, we identified that, well, based on your wish list of everything you need, here's the path that will take advantage of, dig once efforts that will take advantage of capital projects that are already on the books to link everything that you want. And that includes city office buildings. We have, our city hall, police department, our main recreation center, and our public works yard are all located across the city, and we'd like to connect them to do that. Our parks that need to be connected, that sort of thing. And so not only do we know where this network is, we also know what it is. It's one thing to say, oh, I need to put a fiber optic cable here, as we, let's say, widen this road. And then when someone says, okay, how big a conduit do you want? Do you need one conduit or two conduits? Well, we now have that. So what we've done administratively, just through both our development processes and our capital projects, is we have instilled in the DNA here that our city planners and our engineers who are building things know that if you have a development along this network route, or if you're installing a storm drain down this street and digging up the street, you need to go check our broadband strategic plan. And it's this many conduits, it's this size conduit, and that is now just part of our standard procedures. We also have taken advantage of Magellan's expertise, and as stated in their plan, kind of advancing our use of our tools to kind of handle the paperwork better. So we are preparing right now a dig once policy for encroachment permits within our public right-of-way. We're also in the process of negotiating our first master license agreement with a large telecom company to deploy 5G and just have a standard set of rules of, hey, you want to get onto our street lights, here's the process and here are the terms. And once we have this one down, then we're going to reach out to the other major industry players and say, hey, we're ready, come deploy here. We've got permits, we've got a process, it's streamlined, good to go. And I think the final thing that we got is, when you hire a consultant with expertise that you don't have in-house, the big get that you gain is you get to know what you didn't know you didn't know. And for us, it's an opportunity. We're building a new library here in Moorpark. And, with Magellan, what they identified was kind of the coming together of a bunch of opportunities to install a regional meet me room to basically connect the long haul fiber providers that are located within the railroad right of way that runs right through Moorpark. And lo and behold, a couple hundred feet away, we're building a new library that would be, absolutely wonderful as a regional hub. And since we're in the process of designing the building and building the building, the incremental costs to build it are actually really low. And that was something that, wasn't even in our wildest dreams when we began the process. And now I've got an architect here in Moorpark who's designing our library with a meet me room there. And we're preparing an RFP to, just confirm the market out there to, if you build it, they will come sort of thing. So, a lot of good wins now, and we expect it to pay off later as well as we get more and more down the road for smart cities.
Well, I just thank you for taking the time here to talk to us. The last couple of minutes is the whole point of why we're doing this. It really is the best practices. And Moorpark is showing an awful lot of leadership. And, you know, we're hoping that you sharing these lessons are going to be what other cities will see and want to follow. And we just appreciate you being here.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Well, thanks for the time, Bill. Thanks for the opportunity. And, you know, again, a rising tide, you know, floats all boats, and we want to be a part of the improvement in the region.
Well, that's it for now. And with special thanks to our producer, Sasha Burrows, we'll look forward to catching up next time. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Bill.